Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Welcome to Lessons with John. Today we're going to try Mother by Pink Floyd. Okay, I did the solo, so it's later on in the video. Go look for it if that's what you're looking for. It's a gorgeous solo. I love it. Alright, so we're going to try this. The chords aren't hard, but the rhythm is. Okay, he goes from, sometimes he's in 5/8, sometimes 4/4, sometimes 12/8. He's all over the place. So, keeping with that in mind, I'm not going to bother with the strum patterns on the screen this time, okay? So hopefully you can catch on. Listen to how he plays it. I tend to play too fast sometimes. Maybe it's the coffee in the morning, I don't know. But here we go. So what you're going to need a G chord, 6th string 3rd fret, 5th string 2nd fret, 2nd and 1st string 3rd fret. Now what he does on the G chord, what you're going to hear me do is, I might not be able to yell it out and stuff, but about halfway through playing the G chord, not all the time, but some of the time, when he's hanging on a G chord for like 2 measures or 2 patterns or whatever you want to call it, about halfway through he's going to hammer the 5th string. So you have to be up on an angle in order to get the clearance that you need. So he simply lifts up his first finger and he just hammers it while he's playing, okay? Your next chord you're going to need is a C chord. That's the 5th string 3rd fret, the 4th string 2nd fret, and the 2nd string 1st fret. He's going to do the same thing on C chords where he's just hanging out for a whole 2 patterns or 2 measures. He's going to hammer, this time it's your middle finger, on the 4th string. You hear that? It's like a country sound. Again, you need the clearance. If you're leaning too much or if your nails are too long, you're going to play on such an angle that you're not going to be able to get those hammers, so cut those nails. Alright, D chords. You need the 3rd string 2nd fret, 1st string 2nd fret, and the 2nd string 3rd fret. Okay? Sometimes he doesn't play the whole D chord. Sometimes it ends up being like a D5 where he's not playing the 1st string. Sometimes he might have his pinky down and you're getting a D sus sound. We're not going to be too particular, but sometimes you'll hear a D sus2 too. Open 1st string. On the overdub, the 12th string guitar part that we'll talk about at the end, or in the middle, whatever. He does that. So, anywho, those are your chords. Do we need any? Yep, we have one more chord. It's an F chord. So you could just bar the whole 1st fret, and then the 3rd string 2nd fret, the 5th string, and the 4th string at the 3rd fret. Okay, that's the mama's going to give you make your nightmares come true. Nice. So you're going to see me though do my F chords like Hendrix. Thank you, Jimmy. 2nd string 1st fret, 3rd string 2nd fret, 4th string 3rd fret, and then I'm going to wrap my thumb around on the 6th string 1st fret. And I'm going to mute the 5th string with my 3rd finger here, and I'm going to mute the 1st string with somehow back of my hand here. I always do my F chords like that. I like a thinner sound. Sorry, I know I mention that every single time. People get sick of it, but that's what I do. So there it is. All right, so you've got like 4 different sections. Don't be afraid. It's not too bad, but rhythmically it is. So the verses are always pretty much the same. You start on a G chord. No, that's not really it. Let's see. That's your verse, okay? Now I tried not to yak, so you could just hear it. So I could get through it. It's kind of difficult to talk at the same time. You're trying to get these rhythms right with this, where they're bouncing back and forth between those meters. All right, so it starts with a G chord, And it's a bit, this is like the 5/8 measure, so it's a bit quicker than you think, you know. And don't necessarily go by me. Listen to the recording, because I don't know it that well. So, C chord, and then a hammer, and then a quick D, back to the G. Hammer, the G chord, C chord, hammer, D coming up, back to the G. I'll do another hammer, then a C chord, to a G, then this is the U part, D chord, to a C, D, G, hammer. Alright, part 1 done. Every verse is pretty much like that, okay? You may hear some other stuff. That's a 12-string guitar that's overdubbed. If you don't know what overdubs is they just layer things. So David Gilmour can play play all the acoustic parts and put those all together. Then he can hear them back, and he can play a different guitar, like the guitar solo, for example, and he can play over the changes, and then they can just line them up. And then there's a 12-string that you're going to hear. It's in your face when you hear it. We'll get to it. All right, your next part is the Hush Now Baby, Baby Don't You Cry. It's a G chord. Let's see where it is. It's a G to a C, F to a C. Same thing for a while now. I screwed up. That's better. And then the U, D, to a C, D, to a C. One more time. To a G. And that leads you into the guitar solo at that point, okay? So that's the first time the chorus goes through. Sorry about that screw up, but hey, it happens all the time to me. I don't know about you. Alright, so let's try it again. So you got Hush Now Baby, Baby Don't You Cry. So Hush Now Baby, baby. And then to a C. And then it just goes back and forth between an F and a C. Yeah. You into that next section, okay? So every time the chorus comes back, there's only 2 choruses in the song, and that's what happens, okay? So behind the guitar solo, it's wicked simple. It's just a G chord to a C chord, G to a C, again. Then when the rake comes in, it's a D, and then a C, and then a G. Okay? And then there's a little C at the end where they jump to. And then there, let's see, what comes after the solo? Then you're back to a verse. So it goes quickly. That last measure is something like G. Okay? just a quick C, and then right back to a G that leads into a verse. So those are the chords behind the solo, but you don't want to do that. You want to get your buddy to play the chords for that, because you want to play the solo. Okay. All right, the last but not least part for the acoustic guitar is, let's see, after, so you go back, the form of the song, okay, it's a verse, and then a second verse, so back to back, then the chorus, the Hush Now Baby Baby, and then the solo, then another verse, and then another chorus, and then you got your outro. So the outro comes right at the end of the chorus, and it's wicked simple. It's just a G chord. And he just hits it. Something about it being too high, and then a C chord at the end. So they'll leave you kind of hanging on that C chord, because it's in the key of G. So anyway, so that comes at the end of the chorus. You know, the ooh. So this is the end of the chorus, the second chorus. One more time. Of course, she's going to help you build the wall, and then why'd it have to be so? C chord. Okay, that's the acoustic guitar to Mother. All right, happy Mother's Day. All right, there is an overdub. All right, so now for the overdubs in Mother, it's a 12-string acoustic, I think, and basically, you know, you'll hear them when they come in. You know, it's one of those. What he's doing is he's playing a D chord, and a lot of times he will lift up the first finger, so it's like a D sus2, you'll call it sometimes, and it's like, and then it's like a hammer to a D. So, and then the C. So he always comes in, not always, but I think I really didn't look at this part too carefully. But I think it's on the upbeat of 4, or beat 4, your last beat of your measure anyway. He comes in with these, and this, and then sometimes it's a G, sometimes it's a C, sometimes it's a D. When he does the Ds, he tends to do sus2s to Ds. So open first string, and then when he gets down onto the next beat, it's a D chord. Okay? So you'll hear those, you know, I can hear them in my head like the whoop, hey, I don't know if it's an up or not. I really didn't pay too much attention. And then a G, okay? Those are just layered parts that, you know, most of us don't have an extra guy or gal to throw in there to say, hey, can you just sit here and do these overdubs for me? When you're playing it live, you just, so those parts just get taken out. You might be able to incorporate the acoustic guitar and, you know, make that up. 12 strings, we don't all have them, so. Anywho, hopefully you like that. Thanks. Please subscribe. Comments below. Sorry I didn't do the strum patterns, but for this one, it's all over the place. He changes it all the time. It's not a consistent strum pattern the whole time, so. Okay, happy Mother's Day, and thank you. Okay, now for the solo to Mother. Wish me luck. I'll try and play through it, and then we'll break it down bit by bit. Okay, not too bad. Let's break it down. Alright, a gorgeous solo. I imagine it took him quite a bit to put it together. I can't imagine he just wakes up and just solos like that over chord changers, but maybe he does. Maybe he's lucky. So thank you, David Gilmour. Alright, so what do we do first? First things, 3rd string, 12th fret. I'm just going to play that note by itself. I'm going to use my middle finger because I want my ring finger free for that bend. So I'm going to go to the 2nd string, 13th fret. that's a C to a D. I'm bending it to a D. It's a whole step bend, if that means something to you. And then you're going to bend it a second time. Then you're going to pull it back down and pull it off. So you bend it up, bring it back down, pull it off to the 12th fret, and then you go right back to the 13th. So it sounds like this. Okay, that's I can't remember how fast he goes. He goes slower than I think in the song anyway. So then he goes to the 4th string. It's probably a pull off. Let me double check. Written it down somewhere. Yeah, it's a pull off. So it's 4th string 14, pull off to 13, and then you go back to 14, and this time you pluck it. So just like that. So whoop, just like that. That's your first part. Then you're going to come down. He probably slides from about, it's the 5th string, probably about the 2nd fret, and he slides all the way to the 7th fret, just like in Dirty Water. Then he plays the 3rd string 5th fret, back to where you were, the 5th string 7th fret. Then he goes right back to the 3rd string, and he slides back from 5 to 4. Then he ends up on the 5th string 5th fret. So that lick sounds like, okay? And then you go back to the 5th string 3rd fret, get your first finger on the 2nd fret right behind it. When you do pull-offs, the finger in the back has got to be in place. So that one, where is it? Yeah. Same thing as this one. He pulls it off, and then he attacks it again at the end. So it's 3, 2, 3. Then he stays on that note, and he bends it down, pull it down towards the ground, and then just bring it back. It's a whole step bend, so he's getting all the way to a D. Something like that. Okay, so that lick sounds like. Then he sneaks his first finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and he slides to the 7th fret, just like we did on the 5th string, but this time it's on the 3rd string. Then he plays the 2nd string, 8th fret, back to the 3rd string, 7th fret. So it's like that. Then you grab the 2nd string, 10th fret, you bend it up, then you bend it a second time. You don't let the bend come back down the first time you go. Just hold it, then sneak it back down and go. This time it's a bit tricky. I'm going to bend it up, bring it back, pull it off, so 10 to 8. And then I'm going to end up on the 1st string, 8th fret. Then I'm going to go on the 3rd string, I'm going to go 9. It's that same pull off. So 9, 8, back and attack 9 again. So just like that. It's these same exact notes that were up here. But you're in a different spot. So let's see. That lick sounds like. Nice. All right. My next lick is the Rake. This is if you don't have this in your arsenal, you need to get it, man. It's I'm going to cover the 10th fret on the 1 and 2 strings, and I'm going to hook my middle finger in on the 3rd string, 11th fret, so it's at an angle. So you can see this one's like turning purple because I've flattened it out, and this guy's got the knuckle turned like this. So, and then what I do is with the pick hand, I do a rake. So if you don't know how to do a rake, you hit the 3rd string, and then you go to the 2nd string, and you let go to the 3rd string, you let go of the 2nd string as you go to the 1st string. So, like that. So it gets this really cool percussive type sound. Then he gets up to the 12th fret on the 1st string, and he bends it immediately. So he brings it back down, the bend back down, and then he ends up going to 10 on the 1st string. So Then he just simply moves down a step, a whole step, and he does the same thing with your middle finger on the 3rd string 9th, and then you flatten out on the first 2 strings 8th. Does the same thing. That's better. I was a little flat before. So those licks sound like. Now what you heard when I did that first one is you heard some string noise, which I try to get rid of, but sometimes if you're not concentrating, it'll come through. And when you're first starting this, it's going to be very difficult to get rid of that string noise. I'm getting rid of it with this hand over here, I think. I'm letting go, I'm releasing the pressure with this hand, but I'm also tapping the strings with the palm and the thumb here. See how clean that was? So I really did it. I can feel it's right here, this part of my hand. It's the 3 and 2 strings, because what I'm doing is I'm bending up the 1st string, and when you bend the 1st string and you bring it back down like that without tapping, you can hear the string noise, and that bothers a lot of people. Because it's, you know, it's just, you don't need it. You can get rid of it. So, well, that wasn't too good. Now I can't do it. There, I did it. So it's difficult. It's not easy to do. I did it. There, disappeared. And then your last part is he's going to pull off on the 1st string 8, 7, 8, 7. Then he's going to play the 2nd string 8, the 3rd string 7. Then he's going to go back to the 3rd string 5th fret. He's going to pull off to 4, 4th fret. Then he's going to end up on the 4th string 5th fret, and he's going to drag it back at the end. And you just kind of pick it up and make it disappear. Tap the strings with this hand, and it'll just go away. All right, so that's the solo. Okay, thank you for that solo. That was great. He's a great player. He's one of my favorite to hear him solo. Just great stuff. Any questions, comments down below, and play more guitar. Thanks.